There's never been someone at my level, ever. It's never existed that someone who possessed the highest level in every area of life spoke the way I speak. It's never existed.
This is the story of a man who's thrown his whole life away. A man whose own self-image and personal indulgence has made him the laughingstock of the internet. This is the full life story of Wes Watson. Wes was born in 1983 in sunny San Diego, California. Growing up as a kid, Wes loved to be outdoors, do things like skateboarding, snowboarding, surfing, and of course, weightlifting. Wes quickly got himself into bad habits. At the age of 12, he started smoking marijuana, and only 2 years later, at the age of 14, he started selling drugs on the street. There's not much record of what happened after Wes's childhood up until 2008 when he was arrested. We can assume he didn't do much of anything. In fact, there's a rumor online that Wes was kind of bouncing around living on people's couches. In 2008, Wes was arrested. Watson claimed this arrest had happened because of an altercation between him and one of his drug customers who owed him money. Wes was allegedly charged with assault with a deadly weapon, battery with seriously bodily injury, burglary, robbery, and intent to cause great bodily harm. So you can only imagine how brutal this attack must have been. Either way though, Wes was sentenced to 10 years in California State Prison. Wes claimed he served that entire sentence in general population yards. General population, GP, that's where the GP and GP Penitentiary life comes from. Wes claims that he woke up at 2:45 a.m. to work out and journaling. And because of this rigid routine, it helped him get clean off drugs, and it helped to transform his mindset to the motivational coach that he is today. You can't actively get drugs in jail. Obviously, I know drugs exist and people smuggle them in, but I'm not sure it's as much Wes choosing to stop doing drugs versus Wes simply not having the access that he had before on the street.
Were you actually posting while you were in prison? Did you have a YouTube channel?
I had contraband cell phones and I was posting in prison on my Instagram.
Wes considers this to be the beginning of his Instagram journey. However, there's nothing to prove that this ever happened. Speaking of things that never happened, Wes has gained widespread criticism from many prisoners and gang members who actually are about that life, calling Wes out for the blatant lies that he shares about his time in prison.
Like, he said he was in a riot that he wasn't in, that we were in, Mexicans and the blacks were in. And it wasn't about him portraying that he was in, it was more that after the fact, he started saying stuff about he was on lockdown for 14 months, that they brought a phone to his door so he could talk to his girlfriend or his daughter, whoever, right? Which was a lie because they never brought no phones to our door. And only the Mexicans and blacks were on lockdown for like 16 months. What really got me mad was because he talked about his Sally, he made a story up about his Sally, and his Sally's dead. And the story wasn't true off the top.
There was no disciplinary records that supports the violence he talks about. His paperwork shows him being transferred to low-level facilities, not being on the main GP yards. But the most universal claim that these prisoners make on YouTube when talking about Wes Watson is nobody knows who this guy is. All the real prisoners online who's not trying to do it for social media clout all say that Wes Watson is not known, nor is he respected in prison. It's worth noting that a lot of people also call out the crazy behavior that Wes talks about having, while pointing out if you act that way in prison, you're going to get in serious trouble, leading many people to say Wes is lying about these prison stories.
He wasn't nothing he portrayed in there. He just like, if you ever watch any of his shows, how he acts, nobody acts like that in prison.
There's also a rumor that because Wes has lied about these stories, he's not allowed to go back to California anymore. Now, this is just a rumor, there's no way to definitively prove it, but think about it for a second. He was born in California, he lived his whole life up until his incarceration in California, and now he lives in Miami and refuses to leave. So it's a theory that has a little bit of merit. After being released in 2018, Wes created Watson Fit, which is his coaching and fitness brand that he still uses today in 2025. He claims after only 18 months he became a millionaire, but this is unverified. In fact, there's no tax returns, no banking records, or third-party sources to claim any income at all, let alone $1 million. Given the flaws in the justice system, reintegrating productively into society can be difficult if you don't have outside help. But the claim that you go from prisoner to millionaire in 18 months is pretty absurd when you really think about it. A lot of people don't know, but right after being released, Wes would get married to Valerie, who is a tattoo artist, but they would end up divorcing later in 2022. There were some rumors swirling online that this relationship was filled with violence and Wes was extremely aggressive, but it is worth noting that is just a rumor. The divorce happened clean. In 2019, Wes launched his YouTube channel GP Penitentiary Life, sharing his stories about prison. This is where a lot of the controversy from other prisoners stem from, him talking about these crazy stories and experiences in jail. As soon as Wes started this channel in July of 2019, it took off like a rocket. In the first month alone, over 100,000 subs. Today, Wes's channel has grown to over 500,000 subs and 97 million lifetime views. These are amazing statistics, but honestly, it's not that surprising because people like to see prison content. It's a taboo subject and people are attracted to taboo things without wanting to actually do the thing themselves. I made another video on my channel breaking down Wes Watson's earnings, and I estimate he's made roughly $582,000 lifetime dollars on this channel, which is great, but not anywhere close to the $1 million he claims to be making from it. In 2020, Wes started to venture away from being a prison creator and more to being a social media personality. He started to appear on major podcasts like The London Real. When he was making content back on GP Penitentiary Live, he was very aggressive, very tense in his like, that's how you feel every time you watch one of his videos. But now he's taking it to the mainstream while keeping those same themes of extreme self-discipline, prison toughness, and masculine hierarchy. He quickly developed a circle of fans who followed and were loyal to him, the story of this former ex-con who turned his life around and is now a motivational speaker. But a lot of people started asking questions when Wes started flexing luxury cars, high-rise condos, designer clothes, and watches. Back in 2021, this idea of the fake coach who rents all of his stuff, it wasn't widespread known yet. Today, if you see people flexing that stuff online, the first thought, oh, well, he rented that. But this massive theme shift really isolated a lot of his audience. Remember, these people showed up to hear Wes's prison stories and his motivational content. They don't want to see Wes in mansions, Bugattis, Rolls Royces. They don't care about that. And the results show. If you look at Wes Watson's statistics on his YouTube channel pivoting into being an alpha male, his numbers have dropped dramatically. And he barely gets 10 to 15,000 views per video on a channel with over 500,000 subs. That is horrible engagement. In 2021, Wes went all in with this idea of being a social media influencer and started his high-ticket coaching program. These programs were priced between $1,500 and $15,000. He claimed to have immediate success though. Now, like everything else, this is unverifiable and most likely a fabrication because criticism mounted fairly quickly.
Last year, I spent my entire life savings to go to Wes Watson's mastermind event in Miami, Florida, along with his premium Instagram life coaching package. Now, you may or may not have ever heard the saying, you never want to meet your idols in real life, but wow, this has never rang more true than the time that I met Wes Watson. Saying I was very disappointed wouldn't even be able to capture 1/10 of the pain I felt. Going to Wes Watson's mastermind is like listening to Christmas carols when you're in jail. It sounded good, but in reality, it sucked. So I get my tickets, I book the flight, I hop on the plane, I hop off the plane, and I pull up. For the next 2 days, the only thing that I did was endure him yelling at us, taking his shirt off 4 or 5 times an hour, and flexing.
After all, what is Wes really going to guide you on? He doesn't have anything defined that he's accomplished. It's just his words that said he has done something. In fact, many users reported being blocked when they requested a refund or voiced any concern at all with Wes or the program. In 2022, Wes would release a book, the first and only book Wes ever released. It's called Non-Negotiable, 10 Years Incarcerated. It's a memoir self-help hybrid, basically talking about his time in prison, trying to make more money off of this idea of him being this strong prison guy. It has 973 reviews on Amazon, which means he's definitely sold a lot of copies. If that's 1% of total reviews at $16 per book, he's made roughly $1.5 million gross. However, if you've ever sold a book or know anything about being an author, you have to pay massive publication fees. So I estimate Wes's earnings from that was actually closer to $620 to $900K in an extremely generous situation. A great number, but way off from the millions of dollars Wes is claiming publicly. He definitely has a niche online, but he's not widespread known. It wasn't until 2023 when Wes appeared on the Fresh and Fit podcast where Wes was slingshotted to the public spotlight. This is when he got into the altercation with Andrew Wilson, a personality who's pretty well liked online. Wes constantly tore into Andrew Wilson, attacking him personally, threatening him, and insulting what he looks like, all for Andrew Wilson talking about how vain a materialistic worldview is.
Person's life.
Are you proud of who the
Bro,
you are?
Why
Well,
don't
look
you
at,
even
are
let
you
me
proud?
glitz?
If you look in the mirror, would you guys say this proud of who the he is? That's a bag of trash, dude. Pull your shirt
Because
off
I've
and
been
tell me you're proud
because
of yourself.
I've been to fucking prison.
Jesus Christ,
Because
look
I've been
at
to
you,
prison?
bro. You got 10-inch arms and tits. Men don't have tits. My dad's a superhero. Look what he brought to the table. Look how hard this guy works. He came from
Sure.
nothing to this.
Yeah.
He's damn it.
You're still whining. Stop whining
That
and
is
just
a
make an
product.
argument.
Dude, I'll smack your fat ass.
So you're gonna attack.
Straight
You're gonna
up.
attack me.
This led to widespread backlash for Wes Watson, with many people exposing his crazy, childish behavior on the podcast, and virtually everyone taking Andrew Wilson's side. I think somehow Wes believed that the public or the audience would be on his side, but in fact they weren't. With many top creators on YouTube, including Pinguinzo himself, one of the biggest commentary creators, making a video exposing Wes Watson, really popularizing the term gadooshed. As Wes's popularity skyrocketed, so did the scam accusations in his coaching program. Even more clients started to call Wes's programs overpriced and ineffective, and many reported being ghosted and blocked post-payment, the same as was being reported back in 2021.
Wes Watson, I text him. He hits me back. Yo, what's up, big dog? I'm like, hey, how you doing, you know? And he's doing his whole shtick. For $2,500, you get this. $5,000, you get this. Comes with blah, blah, blah. I'm already seeing red flags because I'm doing the math. And he's saying, I make X amount of $1 million a month. And I'm thinking to myself, even if those three were the high ticket item, you would have to sell this many a month. That means you would have to talk to this many a month personally. So he's like, I'm doing a mastermind, Miami. This is what you get. And I'm listening to it and I'm like, so really all I get is dinner with you and some pictures and to be on your videos. And that's going to draw attention to me because I'm with Wes Watson. So I hit him up. I said, how much is it? So he's like, it's 15 grand. Fast forward right after the thing. He's like, he's on his story. All you haters want to talk about my cars rented. He's got the title, Lamborghini, Wes Watson, Bentley, Wes Watson. So I was like, bro, who cares? Like, why would you even waste your breath on these people? And this guy messages me back, you don't even have 15 grand, so shut the f up. You can't even afford to come to the f***ing mastermind.
Alongside the public attention also came attention from the IRS and other financial institutions. There's rumors that Wes owes hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in back taxes and has mounting debt pretty much everywhere you look. There's no way to definitively know how much he does or doesn't owe in taxes, since Wes doesn't release any information about how much money he earns in real life. Wes would continue posting these tough, rigid, motivational style videos on his Instagram and YouTube page. At this time, Wes has to fight for his life in his own comment section, with half of the comments being supportive, the other half coming simply to troll Wes. This led Watson to disabling his comments on his Instagram channel in an attempt to hopefully not have people talking about how he runs a shady operation. In fact, if someone would go and post negatively on his page at all, Wes has been known to just go and block them instead of actually addressing the issue or confronting it like a man. Wes has made a living off of being this internet tough guy, yet he's constantly banked on people not calling him out and taking him up on what he says. Until December 29th, 2024, when Hakeem Ibrahim was called out by Wes Watson, who told him to pull up to Elevation Fitness.
So every one of you guys that wants to call me out, 1625 North Miami Road, 9 a.m. weekdays, 8 a.m. weekends, follow me out of the parking lot, okay? And don't rat.
To Wes's surprise, Mr. Ibrahim did pull up to Elevation Fitness, and I'm sure you guys have seen the video. Wes and his goons proceeded to beat this guy down barbarically, including Wes Watson using gym equipment to beat this man as he lays defenseless on the ground. When the video was released in 2025, it went viral and Wes experienced insane backlash. The few people that supported Wes turned on him, and the haters that didn't like Wes only were fueled with more fire to go at this guy. Wes claims self-defense on Instagram.
Yeah, that was some. The guy came to the gym to fight me, set his phone up, and then I defended myself. They call so up and then also stay and call my mom and shit. Okay.
But you guys have seen the video. I don't know how you can reasonably classify this as self-defense since Wes told him to pull up. But most of all, when Mr. Ibrahim was defenseless on the ground, Wes did not stop. He continued to pummel and hit Mr. Ibrahim, which could have potentially caused serious injury or possibly even death. On February the 6th, Wes would be rearrested for felony aggravated battery in this case after the footage was released to the public. It's worth noting Wes was registered at 5'8". For some reason, Wes has a personal vendetta to convince people that he's 6 foot tall when he's not. John Bravo made a great video exposing that Wes wears these high-heeled shoes like Converse but with a base support to give you a couple extra inches. While arrested in February, prosecutors offered Wes Watson a plea deal of 2 to 3 years in prison for his actions, but Wes refused. He believes he can beat this case at a jury trial, but a lot of legal analysts who have commented on this case say that's a crucial mistake. Because even with the most experienced lawyers, the video doesn't lie, and this will be a really, really hard case for Wes Watson to defend. However, that was his choice, and he was released on bond. Back in May, Instagram made the decision to remove Wes Watson's Instagram from the platform. This completely undermined his whole strategy, flexing his lifestyle online and reaching this massive audience of hundreds of thousands of followers. He's tried multiple times to create new accounts. Most of the time, time to get taken down within a couple of days. However, he has an account that he's working on right now on Instagram with only 14,000 subscribers. That's less than the Wes Watson troll page on Reddit, so Wes Watson's whole business strategy here is completely crumbling. As you could probably assume, Mr. Ibrahim filed a lawsuit against Wes Watson. He also filed a suit against Elevation Fitness LLC, which is the gym where he was attacked, and Nicholas Dellis, one of the goons who also attacked him at the gym. He has multiple claims for damages in excess of $50,000, both against Mr. Watson and against Elevation Fitness LLC, who's a Miami corporate gym chain. The documents just say in excess of $50,000. It doesn't give the exact number of how much money Mr. Ibrahim is seeking. I would be pretty surprised if this case did not get into the 7 figures, given the brutality and the clear evidence of what's on tape. In response to this, Wes Watson decided to not do anything at all. He didn't submit a document, he didn't respond to it, he simply let the case go into default. And on June 4th, 2025, a default judgment was issued against Wes Watson in favor of Mr. Ibrahim on these damages claims. Now let me be clear in saying, this default judgment does not mean that Mr. Ibrahim has won. A judge still has to sign off on it, and that is the final approval. If Wes wanted to appeal that judgment, he can, but he would have to prove definitively why he did not submit his documents on time. And since Wes was online posting his normal stuff and going live on YouTube, it's very unlikely that Wes will be able to convince the judge to overrule that judgment. Ultimately though, Wes knew that his platform was going to crumble because it's been built on lies from day one. About a week ago, Wes would go live on YouTube and post a racist rant.
Like, why don't you put some fucking cocoa butter on your head and on your ashy knees? She don't fuck with you, bro. JoJo. I bet you understand what JoJo looks like, you guys. JoJo the monkey, the jumping around monkey man. Like, nobody gives a fuck about people like you, dipshit. Monkey JoJo. Yeah, jump around, monkey.
This trend would continue just a couple of days ago when he would make a racist remark to Kevin Holland, a UFC fighter, in the DMs, telling him he would buy him a KFC gift card, playing on a racial stereotype. He's also taken to say crazy things such as calling out UFC fighters, saying how they're not real fighters, and anyone on the street like Wes Watson was schooled in fools. And of course, this has led a lot of UFC fighters to sliding in Wes's DMs, calling him out, including Kevin Holland, as I just mentioned, who slid in Wes's DMs basically saying, "What's up?" What's Wes's response? Say a racist comment, block him. He constantly gets bugged by trolls. People don't like him online, and for good reason, because he says racist, derogatory things, and he takes the money of people, promising them something that he knows he won't deliver. I think from the moment he started flexing these items back in 2021, he knew this couldn't last forever. And the end is here. He's facing 10 to 15 years in prison if found guilty on his assault case, and he's facing hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions, in damages for beating Mr. Ibrahim in the gym brutally. Ultimately, Wes Watson's a fraud. He says things, and when anyone calls him out, they block him. Whether it's an average Joe or whether it's an MMA fighter. Wes is all about getting public attention in any way he can. He doesn't care about ruining his life or your life, so long as he has the spotlight on him.
Do you guys realize someone like me craves attention? And by you even giving me negative attention, you're fulfilling what I want, which is attention. Like, I'll turn even negative attention into, haha, you love me.
I'm gonna end my video by saying this. We should hope that this man turns his life around. He clearly has some problems. He's done a lot of things wrong. Everybody can change and make a 180. And he's probably gonna have a long time sitting in a cell to figure that out. If you guys enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, leave a comment down below, let me know, do you think Wes Watson can beat this case? Or do you think he's absolutely screwed? I have a big video coming out next week exposing Luke Belmar, but until then, y'all stay safe and have a nice weekend. I'll see you next week.